Tonight on Y News. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency finds over 10 provincial bus drivers and conductors positive for drug use. The Philippine National Police raises full alert status in preparation for Undas. Authorities demolish the houses of over 100 illegal settlers in Manila North Cemetery. President Duterte says he will pass on to Vice President Robredo his power to enforce the law, following Robredo's comment that the government's drug war is a failure. And the Department of Health confirms third polio case in the country. Good evening. Some provincial bus drivers and conductors tested positive for illegal drug use upon surprise mandatory drug tests nationwide today. Their licenses will be confiscated by authorities and they will undergo rehabilitation. Asher Kadapan Jr. tells us why.
The Philippine government aims to ensure the safety of passengers during Undas. Today, Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA and other government agencies conducted Oplan Undaspot or on-the-spot drug testing operation in major terminals across the country. It targets provincial bus drivers and conductors, especially those with longer hours of travel. PDEA explains drivers resort to illegal drug use to alleviate fatigue from their long drive.
Kapag yan po kasi patuloy niyong pagbabiyahin kahit napagod na, there's a high probability na gagamit po sila ng illegal na droga to stay awake.
At the Butuan City Integrated Bus Terminal, 235 drivers and conductors underwent the surprise mandatory drug testing today. 2 of them were confirmed positive for illegal drug use. They will face rehabilitation for at least 6 months. Traces of illegal drugs were also recovered from a driver and a conductor in Davao City Overland Transport Terminal out of 267 individuals, while an airport personnel tested positive for drug use in Davao Airport.
Kung mag-positive sila, they would be required to undergo rehabilitation, no? Depende kung severe ang ilang addiction.
PDEA also conducted canine sweeping to certain terminals are free of illegal drugs and illegal drug traffickers who take advantage of the influx of commuters. LTO and Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB personnel checked the license of drivers as well as the bus's registration and lighting. At least 12 provincial bus drivers and conductors tested positive for drug use based on the test results nationwide. Their driver's licenses will be confiscated by the Land Transportation Office while they undergo rehabilitation.
We are ensuring the public will see to it that we will not allow any driver to be under the influence of drugs or liquor kasi safety na ang pinag-uusapan natin ng publiko.
Last year, of the 1,696 drivers and conductors who went through Undaspot, 15 proved positive for shabu and marijuana use. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
There will be no selling allowed inside one of the biggest cemeteries in the country, the Manila North Cemetery. The city government has dismantled the dwelling places of informal settlers inside the cemetery. Bernard Dadis clarifies why.
For the first time, Manila North Cemetery will not allow vendors within its premises. Rosel Castañeda, the cemetery OIC director, says this is in accordance with Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso's directive to keep the event on November 1 solemn and peaceful. The central part of the cemetery, which before was a place full of food stalls, will now serve as a command post for the City Disaster Response Team, the Philippine National Police, the Bureau of Fire, and other rescue groups.
Pina-priority namin yung safety ng tao kasi in case of emergency, maluwag pong makakadaan po yung mga ambulansya natin at saka yung mga fire truck natin just in case na mayroong fire.
Those who will visit Manila North Cemetery are advised to bring their own food, drinks, and trash bag. Bringing out sharp and pointed objects, guns, alcoholic beverage, cigarettes, audio speakers, and flying of drones are strictly prohibited. Even pets are not allowed inside the cemetery. Parents are advised to place name tags or identification if they will bring their young ones with them. Burials and cleaning up graves will be temporarily stopped on Wednesday. Starting on October 30, any forms of vehicles are not allowed to enter the cemetery, but the North Cemetery management will provide wheelchairs and electric trikes to give free rides for senior citizens and persons with disability. The main gate will serve as the entrance and exit, while Gate 2 and Gate 3 are for exiting cemetery goers only. To avoid congestion at exit gates, confiscated items can only be claimed on November 4. For an easy way of locating graves, you can check via www.manilacemetery.org.ph. Meanwhile, the abode of almost 100 informal settlers inside the cemetery were demolished by the local government. The Manila North Cemetery management also said they have received a lot of complaints because the informal settlers' whist and shanties are placed above the grave of their loved ones.
Since ito po ay resting place, talagang hindi naman po dapat gawin tong tirahan. So, kung tatanungin nyo ang opinion ni Mayor at saka sa amin, wala po dapat nakatira rito. Kasi sa dami po kasi nila, talagang marami na kaming complaint.
More than 400 policemen will be deployed to the cemetery, while more than 200 street sweepers are assigned to clean the area with 3 shifts a day. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Manila City government continues to seek solutions to the congestion in the Manila North Cemetery as several families are residing in the area. Meanwhile, some Filipinos have their own way to avoid congestion in the cemeteries. Nel Maribuhok reports why.
Normito Iya is one of the individuals living inside the 54-hectare Manila North Cemetery. His shanty was dismantled by the Manila City Hall personnel.
Sana naman wala siyang pinipili, dati nila.
This is just part of the clearing operations of the local government unit in the cemetery. The objective is to free some spaces and clear walkways.
Para lumitaw nga yung daanan niya. Kasi yung iba, mga right of way na ibebenta. Kaya pag dumadalaw yung iba rito, halos wala sila madaanan, talagang tutungtong ka na mismo sa nicho.
According to Quintos, the rehabilitation in the area continues. In addition, the North Cemetery can accommodate burials and there's no need to establish additional cemeteries. Especially, he said that cremation is now among the options with a minimal space requirement in the columbarium. Like what Christian Ogayon's family did, the cremated ashes of his mother is just in their living room. But Dida has a different way. Their dead relatives are buried in their yard.
Apat sila dyan kasi wala kaming pambayad sa sementeryo dito, libre. Safe naman kami.
Putting burial ground in backyards in residential areas is strictly prohibited. This is stated in the Presidential Decree number 868 or the Sanitation Code of the Philippines. Under this law, the burial ground shall be at least 25 meters away from any dwelling house. Also, it should not be located within the 50 meters of either side of the river or in any source of water supply. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine National Police are on full alert status beginning today in preparation for Undas. Both the PNP and the Armed Forces of the Philippines say there are no security threats being monitored as of the moment following the death of an ISIS leader in Syria. Arlene Delgado explains why.
All leaves of absence in the entire police force are cancelled. According to PNP officer in charge, Police Lieutenant General Archie Gamboa, 35,000 policemen are deployed to ensure the security and public conveyances, together with the almost 100,000 force multipliers. The PNP estimate that 15 million Filipinos will flock to over 4,000 public cemeteries and memorial parks all over the country for this year's Undas. Over 8,000 police personnel will be fielded by the National Capital Region Police Office or NCRPO, in which a huge chunk will be deployed to over 100 public cemeteries in Metro Manila. Meanwhile, the PNP have not monitored any security threats ahead of Undas.
In general, there are no terrorism threats There are no terroristic threats as of yet, but the PNP is prepared for that.
PNP spokesperson Police Brigadier General Bernard Banak adds they are also monitoring possible movements of sympathizers across the country following the death of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi in Syria.
Nananatiling kalmado at payapa. Kaya lalo tayong nagiging mapagmatyag at alerto sa dahilang ayaw natin na magkaroon muli ng pag-atake.
Meanwhile, in a statement, AFP spokesperson Marine Brigadier General Edgard Arevalo says the frontline troops remain on high alert to prevent terrorist extremists from launching threats or attacks in the country. He also calls on to the public to stay alert and remain vigilant and report to authorities any suspicious persons and activities in their localities. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue Camp Crame.
The Philippine Coast Guard deploys their personnel and assets in port areas for the expected influx of passengers to travel this weekend. Sea passengers are advised not to bring pork and pork products. Aiko Miguel reports why.
The Philippine Coast Guard are now on heightened alert in ports across the country starting today. This morning, the PCG deployed their personnel and assets including K9 units, Special Operations Forces, and medical teams. The Department of Transportation or DOTR has set up Malasakit Help Desk manned by personnel from the PCG, the Maritime Industry Authority or Marina, the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB, and the Philippine Ports Authority. Here, passengers can ask for help and assistance at ports.
Bawat Malasakit Help Desk, may makikita po kayong tinatawag na medical services, especially ng mga doktor at nurses po natin, at may po tayong mga safety inspectors.
According to PCG Commandant Vice Admiral Joel Garcia, they have also trained K9 sniffing dogs to detect pork carried by passengers of African swine fever virus. The Coast Guard also advised the public not to bring pork when traveling because it will just be confiscated.
Kauna-unahan sa Pilipinas ang Coast Guard K9 na nag-training patungkol sa mga aso natin na makaamoy kung ang isang karne ng baboy ay infected ng African swine flu. In fact, meron tayong success story sa Cebu. May nahuli na po yung Coast Guard K9 natin sa Cebu sa isang barko naglulunan ng karneng baboy.
Bringing bladed weapons, knives, hammers, and liquor is prohibited. Passengers are also advised to attend to their belongings and valuables at all times during their trip. The PCG is expecting the influx of passengers today until Thursday. Passengers are also reminded to arrive 2 hours before their travel time to avoid missed trips and to be prepared for whatever glitches that may occur. The PCG also requests passengers not to force going on vessels when they are already full to avoid any untoward incident.
Na kung maaari, kung talagang hindi na po talaga kasya, ay wag muna po nating ipupumilit na sumakay dahil po ipagbabawal talaga ng Philippine Coast Guard yung sobra po tayo sa bilang ng mga pasahero na nakatalaga ng ating reglamento.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority warns motorists to brace for heavier traffic beginning Thursday. The MMDA also begins their strict implementation of the nose-in, nose-out policy in bus terminals in Cubao, Quezon City. Joanano tells us why.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA will suspend the number coding for all provincial buses from October 31 to November 4. This is to give way to the expected influx of passengers who will travel this Undas. According to MMDA EDSA Traffic Chief Edison Bongnebriha, they are expecting the surge of motorists bound for provinces beginning Thursday. The MMDA advises to brace for much heavier traffic this long holiday.
Kailangan ng kooperasyon, magbawa po ng mahabang pasensya. Alam nyo, yung pag-exit pa lang ng Metro Manila traffic na expect a build-up in Magallanes and in Balintawak and Mindanao Avenue.
The MMDA will deploy more than 2,000 traffic law enforcers to manage the traffic and to help in the clearing operations. Earlier today, the MMDA began the strict implementation of the nose-in, nose-out policy in bus terminals in Cubao, Quezon City to avoid the build-up of traffic on EDSA. They also reprimanded bus and taxi drivers who load and unload their passengers in inappropriate areas to follow traffic rules. The MMDA also called the attention of pedestrians they caught not using the sidewalks and those who take their rides in no-loading areas, while vendors blocking the sidewalk were also asked to vacate their places. But sidewalk vendors complained over the MMDA's strict policy.
Mahirap po, patakbo-takbo kami. Pagka lumampas sila, babalik po kami para siyempre kahit paano makabenta naman po. Kasi yung iba, inutang lang po namin puhunan dyan.
Pagbigyan po nila kami. Kasi dito na po kami namuhay.
The MMDA forces will also assist passengers in bus terminals and help clean the vicinity of cemeteries. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Angelo Castro III left off. I'm Alex Baltazar, and here are the headlines. President Rodrigo Duterte says he will pass on to Vice President Robredo his power to enforce the law following Robredo's comment that the government's drug war is a failure. The National Food Authority lowers its selling price to various government agencies and retailers. Palace warns drastic measures against water concessionaires amid a looming water crisis. 2 senior police officers linked to smuggling in the New Bilibid prison. And Wish 1075 grants an 11-year-old Cebuana's wish to meet Moira de la Torre in person. Good evening. President Rodrigo Duterte offers Vice President Leni Robredo to lead the government's anti-drug war. The Vice President, on the other hand, condemns the drug war. Rosalie Cos reports why.
Following Vice President Leni Robredo's criticism of the administration's anti-drug war, President Rodrigo Duterte has an offer to the Vice President to lead the government's anti-drug war for 6 months. The Chief Executive made the statement during the oath-taking ceremony of newly appointed government officials this afternoon.
Well, the opposition, they always hunker onto sasakyan nilang. Kagaya ni Robredo. Sige lang sa human rights. As a matter of fact, I'm sending a letter to her through Secretary Mejaldia. I will surrender my powers to enforce the law. Ibigay ko sa Vice President. Ibigay ko sa kanya mga 6 months. Siya ang magdala. Tignan natin kung anong mangyari. Hindi ako makialam. Sige, gusto mo? Mas bright ka? Sige. Ikaw. Subukan mo. Mahirap. Madali kasi I've been 21 mayors. Hindi mo na ako maluko ng mga ganun.
VP Robredo condemned the Duterte administration's anti-drug war. She also said the campaign should be reassessed since a lot of people died but the numbers of drug users are still rising. Meanwhile, President Duterte said he is ready to order everyone to follow VP Robredo's order on the anti-drug campaign when she accepts his offer.
Sinabi ko sa kanya, I'm ready to give you, to concede to you power that would cover all drug, anti-drug activities by the government.
Okay.
Sabihin niya, siya ang dalhin ko. I'll give her a clean slate.
Okay.
Para malaman niya kung gaano kadali mag-control ng droga.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The National Food Authority cuts the price of NFA rice for retailers and some government agencies. However, retail price will remain at 27 pesos per kilogram. Ray Palayo tells us why.
Some government agencies can now purchase National Food Authority or NFA rice at 25 pesos from its previous price of 27 pesos per kilogram. Discounts are granted to the Department of Social Welfare and Development, the Bureau of Corrections, Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, and local government units. The NFA rice price for retailers also decreased by 2 pesos. from 25 down to 23 pesos per kilogram. It means retailers can collect an income of 200 pesos per sack of rice. But the retailer price will remain at 27 pesos per kilogram.
Para mas magaan, mas mabilis yung paglabas ng mga imported rice stocks ng National Food Authority.
Teresita Terrado, a rice retailer in Commonwealth Market, said sales of NFA rice will still depend on customers. She pointed out, however, that the quality of NFA rice is now competitive with commercial rice. She added that limitations of NFA rice also loosen and they can sell more than 5 kilograms like they used to before.
Yung taong bayan naman ang bibili niyan, hindi naman kami kahit i-post namin siya kung hindi naman siya mabenta.
Data from the NFA on October 17 show they have around 2.5 million bags of NFA imported rice in their warehouses. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Water concessionaires Maynilad and Manila Water will continue to implement rotational water service interruptions. Meanwhile, Malacanang warns that officials from the water supply sector may be sanctioned over water supply shortage. Joan Nano tells us why.
The Manila Water is now implementing 4 to 10 hours rotational water service interruptions. On the other hand, Maynilad customers are experiencing 4 to 18 hours of no water supply. As of 6 a.m. today, the water level in Angat Dam is down to 185.28 meters from 185.41 meters yesterday. This is only more than 5 meters from its 180 meters minimum operating level. Jeric Sevilla, the Manila Water spokesperson, explains they need to implement the rotational water service interruptions to manage the water supply until the dry season next year.
Kung magpapatuloy tayo na ibibigay natin yung parehong service level at hindi tayo magpapatupad ng mga water interruptions, mas madaling bababa yung level ng Angat.
However, Malacanang has warned the water concessionaires that President Rodrigo Duterte will impose drastic moves if they are found to be negligent over water supply shortage in Metro Manila. Among the drastic measures are contract termination and charging of complaints against those who are responsible.
I suppose the fact that they have not undertaken corrective measures that will prevent the evolution of this upcoming crisis again would be a factor that would make the president decide on drastic action against them.
Meanwhile, Manila Water supports the establishment of Kaliwa Dam that will supply additional 600 million liters per day of water for Metro Manila.
Itong Kaliwa Dam is something that we welcome. No? In fact, hindi lamang Kaliwa Dam. Any other source of water na pwedeng mapagkunan ng additional sources of water supply for the next years. No?
But since the construction of the controversial dam is yet to be finalized, as of now, the Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System, or MWSS, is prioritizing the construction of some midterm projects for additional water supply. These are the Wawa Calawis project that will provide an additional 80 million liters per day, or MLD, and East Bay Water Supply project that can supply 50 MLD of water to Metro Manila. All these projects are expected to be completed by year 2022. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Department of Health, or DOH, confirmed the third polio case in the country. According to DOH Secretary Francisco Duque III, the third case is a 4-year-old female from Dato Piangtown in Maguindanao who did not receive any dose of the oral polio vaccine. The girl was initially reported as a case of acute flaccid paralysis in September after seeking consultation at the Cotabato Regional Medical Center following bouts of fever, diarrhea, vomiting, and muscle pain. The health official further stated it is awaiting results of samples it sent from another suspected polio case. House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano is open for the possibility of his term as the Speaker of the House of Representatives being extended. He says, however, he will follow President Rodrigo Duterte's directive. Vincent Arboleda explains why.
You know,
open to the possibility. Kung si Congressman Velasco nagsabi sa akin, ikaw na lang, alangan namang piliting ko pa siya. Diba? So, I mean, tao din tayo. We're also public servants and we also believe in our own leadership.
This is the statement of House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano on the possibility of his term as the House Speaker of the lower house of Congress being extended. According to Cayetano, he cannot stop congressmen from giving suggestions to not change the House leadership after getting high ratings on the Pulse Asia survey. According to Cayetano, even he himself is proud of the performance of the 18th Congress. Despite this, as a member of the coalition making up the supermajority of the lower house, he acknowledges the leadership of President Rodrigo Duterte, who is also the leader of the coalition.
I do believe na hindi makikialam ang presidente as president. But as head of the coalition, susundin ko ang kanyang directive.
Cayetano said there are no changes in the agreement of term sharing for speakership among himself, Marinduque Representative Lord Alan Velasco, and later Representative Martin Romualdez. Cayetano said he also respects the leadership of Congressman Velasco. For now, there has been no statement issued by the camps of Velasco and Romualdez on Cayetano's new statement. According to the first agreement between the three congressmen and the president, Cayetano will sit as the House Speaker for 15 months, while Velasco will continue for the remaining 21 months until the end of the term of the president. Romualdez will sit as the majority floor leader based on the agreement. The issue on the speakership term sharing surfaced after some congressmen openly addressed their support to continue Cayetano's House speakership after getting high trust and approval ratings on the Pulse Asia survey last September. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Two senior officers have been tagged in the recent smuggling in the New Bilibid prison. According to the policeman involved in the irregularity, two senior officers ordered them to do so. Laya Ilagan tells us why.
14 of the 18 policemen involved in the smuggling of contraband inside the New Bilibid prison last week have executed their affidavit. National Capital Region Police Office Chief Police Brigadier General Debold Sina says, based on the cops' affidavit, they had been told by their two senior officers to sneak 60 sticks of cigarettes and bottles of a ready-to-drink tea beverage that contained suspected liquor into Bilibid. Sinas adds the two senior officers are now undergoing investigation.
So, pinareport na rin namin yung senior niya, sinama sa investigation at dinisarmahan para maklear yung issue. Second, yung isa naman sa cigarette, yun din ang sabi niya, inutusan lang siya.
The 18 policemen are being investigated and reassigned to the Regional Personnel Holding and Accounting Unit or RPHO due to the controversy.
They were already disarmed para investigahan. Nagbigay na po yung 14 na nakuna ng cellphones ng affidavit nila.
Based on their affidavit, they were caught with cellular phones outside the NBP and those were for personal use.
Yung cellphones po nila, binigay na po namin last week sa cybercrime group namin sa Camp Crame para i-facilitate. Para malaman namin kung totoo ba yung sabi nila na personal use.
The NCRPO sent the confiscated liquid to the PNP Crime Laboratory to verify if it is indeed liquor. Administrative case of grave misconduct will be filed against them if they are found guilty of sneaking contraband inside the Bilibid. Sinas adds only forces coming from their regional mobile force will be deployed to the NBP and not from other districts. Their duty will be 12 hours with shifting schedules. Sina suggests to the Bureau of Corrections to replace the cops deployed in NBP every 2 to 3 months to avoid familiarity with inmates. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Prices of petroleum products are expected to go down anew this week. marking the second consecutive weekly rollback. In separate advisories, Phoenix Petroleum Philippines, Filipina Shell Petroleum Corp, and Petrogas said they are cutting prices of gasoline by 45 cents per liter and diesel by 10 cents. The price cut will take effect on Tuesday at 6 a.m. Clean Fuel Stations on Sunday implemented a slash in the price of its gasoline by 60 centavos and diesel by 20 centavos per liter. Other oil companies have yet to announce any price adjustment. An 11-year-old Cebuana girl had her wish granted to finally meet in person OPM singer-songwriter Moira De La Torre. Gladys Tuabi has the story.
Graciela Panta from Cebu is like any 11-year-old girl who is wishing to meet their favorite singer someday.
At nakita kita sa tagpuan ni Bathala, may kinang sa mata na di maintindihan.
One of Graciela's favorite artists is singer-songwriter Moira De La Torre.
Hi, Ate Moira. Very fun ko ako sa'yo kasi maganda ka at maganda din yung boses mo at mga kanta mo.
Graciela's mom, Marife Panta, even considers Moira's songs therapeutic.
Kung depressed ko, maminaw ako music, Moira or mga instrumental, basta any, basta music. Kay when I am down, murag feeling na ko ang music will lift me up.
And when they heard that Moira would visit Cebu for a concert, without hesitation, Graciela made a wish to Wish 107.5, hoping that she could meet Moira in person. To Graciela's surprise, Wish FM gave her free tickets to Moira's concert. In her braver concert, Moira captured the hearts of the Cebuanos when she sang her signature songs and spoke Cebuano language. Nigel Miguel, vocalist of the band Taciturn, will never forget his experience to be able to sing with Moira on stage.
Feels overwhelming and I still can't believe it. Still hasn't synced in. I don't know. I'm still speechless up to this moment, but I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
The Cebuanos are the warmest crowd. We really have our best shows here.
Finally, the long-awaited moment for the Moira fan, Graciela.
Never man ko nakapansat before, so like very shocked lang.
Graciela even got the chance to hug Moira during their meet-up.
Thank you, Wish, na nag-give nila ako na opportunity. I'm very thankful gyud ka na hitabo nila ako.
Gladys Tuabi, UNTV News and Rescue, Cebu City.
And to finally complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. President Rodrigo Duterte is expected to attend the 35th ASEAN Summit in Thailand next week. In case he misses on the meetings, he will be represented by Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin Jr. Rosa Dicos tells us why.
Rodrigo Duterte is prepared to attend all the meetings in the 35th Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN Summit from November 2 to 4. This is despite the unbearable pain the chief executive felt in his spinal column last week due to a minor motorcycle accident. Some of the meetings are the ASEAN Plenary Summit, ASEAN Plus 3 Summit, East Asia Summit, as well as the one-on-one summit of ASEAN with China, India, United Nations, United States, and Japan. This is aside from the possible bilateral meetings of President Duterte with other leaders of ASEAN member states and heads of states of dialogue partners.
As of this point, we are prepared for all of the meetings and we are working under the assumption that the President will be attending.
President Duterte will be accompanied by some of his cabinet members, including Foreign Affairs Secretary Locsin, Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez, and Social Welfare Secretary Rolando Bautista. The president's delegation also includes his common-law wife Hanilet Avancenia, who will attend the spouses program. Meanwhile, according to the DFA, the Code of Conduct or COC will most likely be discussed in the ASEAN Summit. The COC is a set of regulations and responsibilities that must be observed by claimant countries on the disputed territories.
I think it will be featured in the discussions. It's unavoidable. Kasi doon sa meeting na yon ng mga leaders, I think we could expect the countries to give their positions.
Rosalie Coz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Meanwhile, Russian ambassador to the Philippines, Igor Kovayev, confirmed that Russian President Vladimir Putin is coming to the Philippines. The official said Putin accepted President Rodrigo Duterte's invitation for the Russian president to make his first visit to the Philippines under the Duterte administration. It is not clear, however, as to when the historical visit would be dated, but Kovayev said it could happen very soon. The diplomat added that Russia is ready to help the Philippines, especially in providing defense equipment for the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP. Likewise, Russia expressed its offer to help in terms of energy and oil supply, as it has invited the Philippines to conduct joint oil and gas exploration in Russia. The Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, on Sunday asked Filipinos to postpone any travel to Iraq in view of the ongoing unrest in the country. In an advisory, the DFA calls on Filipinos that if travel to Iraq is inevitable or could not be delayed, avoid flights with early morning or late night arrivals in Baghdad, Basra, and the Kurdistan region. Also, curfews are currently imposed in several cities. Filipinos needing assistance may contact the Philippine Embassy in Baghdad at the following information. And for the news abroad, President Donald Trump declared on Sunday morning that ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was dead after a U.S. military raid in northwest Syria over the weekend. Ferdy Petalio has the details.
The fugitive leader of the Islamic State group killed himself during a U.S. military operation in northwest Syria, President Donald Trump has said. Speaking from the White House, Mr. Trump said Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi detonated his suicide vest after fleeing into a tunnel chased by U.S. military dogs.
He died like a dog. He died like a coward. He was whimpering, screaming, and crying. And frankly, I think it's something that should be brought out so that his followers and all of these young kids that want to leave various countries, including the United States, they should see how he died.
Test results from the aftermath of the raid had positively identified Baghdadi, he said. U.S. forces suffered no personal losses, according to Trump. He also thanked Russia, Turkey, Syria, and Iraq for their support. Baghdadi had long been sought by the United States as a head of a jihadist group that at one point controlled large areas of Syria and Iraq, where it declared a caliphate. Islamic State has carried out atrocities against religious minorities and attacks on 5 continents in the name of a version of an ultra-fanatic Islam that horrified mainstream Muslims. In recent years, the group had lost most of its territory. But while the destruction of the quasi-state that Baghdadi built has denied the group its recruiting tool and logistical base from which it could train fighters and plan coordinated attacks overseas, most security experts believe Islamic State remains a threat through clandestine operations or attacks. Ferdy Petalio, UNTV News and Rescue.
In other news, Californian Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a statewide emergency as wildfires whipped up by fierce winds continue to sweep through the area. Some 180,000 people in the north have been ordered to leave their homes, and roads around Santa Rosa were packed with cars as people tried to flee. Tens of thousands of homes are under threat from the wildfires. The biggest blackouts in the state's history have already left 1 million people without electricity. Power companies are trying to stop damaged cables from triggering new fires. Another 1 million people are expected to lose their supplies in the hours ahead. British police will work together with the Vietnamese side to investigate the identities of the 39 people found dead in a truck container in Essex County in the southeast of England. The police said they have received reports from several Vietnamese people that their relatives had gone missing. Kath Dumaraos has this report.
14 families in Vietnam's central provinces have reported their relatives missing after 39 people were found dead in a refrigerated truck in the British county of Essex. Families in the provinces of Nghệ An and Hà Tĩnh have reported that they have been unable to contact their offsprings in Britain since Tuesday, Vietnam news agency reported on Saturday. They were seeking assistance from local authorities in ascertaining their children's whereabouts. 39 bodies, including 8 women and 31 men, were found on Wednesday in a refrigerated lorry container traveling to Britain from the Belgian port of Zeebrugge. Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc on Saturday requested the country's Ministry of Public Security, in collaboration with other government agencies and provincial authorities of Nghệ An and Hà Tĩnh, to verify information and investigate cases of illegally taking Vietnamese citizens abroad. He also requested the Vietnamese Ministry of Foreign Affairs to closely monitor the situation and work with relevant British agencies to confirm the identities of the victims. The Vietnamese Foreign Ministry said in a statement Saturday that it had instructed its embassy in London to assist British police with the identification of the victims. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
Former Argentine Chief of the Cabinet of Ministers Alberto Fernandez was elected as the country's new president according to the results of Sunday's election. Fernandez secured 48% of the vote according to the preliminary results of more than 90% of the ballots counted. According to the Argentine constitution, the presidential candidate who nets more than 45% of the votes becomes the winner, and incumbent President Mauricio Macri has admitted defeat. The newly elected president will officially take office in December for a 4-year term. In addition to the new president, the election also selected a vice president, 130 members of the Chamber of Deputies, and 24 senators. The vote was held amid an economic crisis that has left a third of Argentina's population in poverty. The Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee, or PHISCOC, has conducted test events at the new Clark City in preparation for the 2019 Southeast Asian or SEA Games. Various local and foreign athletes participated in the test events, which began on Saturday. Games featured include high jump, long jump, javelin throw, individual and synchronized swimming. Technical Diving Committee Chairperson Marie Demanche is happy with the turnout during the event. Meanwhile, Filipino athletes are happy because aside from having a home court advantage, the country also has world-class facilities. Caviteños can now satisfy their craving for coffee and quench their thirst with a new branch of Daniel's Coffee Shop. Here's why from Mon Hokson.
A new place to enjoy Daniel's Coffee opened today in Dasmariñas City, Cavite. Call it original, innovative, unique, or whatever its patrons describe the coffee shop. Daniel's is unlike any other cafes you've been at before. A coffee shop to hang out with friends, hold company meetings, and a TV studio all in one. A place for fun and relaxation, a cozy zone to share stories with your loved ones. It's also a live gig venue for musicians and stand-up comedians.
It took us like 2 years mahigit para mailagay natin sa talagang pino yung lahat ng mga kailangan natin maayos, yung lahat ng nasa menu natin, timpla natin, ng coffee natin, na pwede mo isabay kahit sa mga international coffee shops at yung mga coffee shops na sikat ngayon.
And with the new branch, there's definitely more in store. Some great news, food and drinks to love, and unforgettable experiences to cherish for coffee lovers.
Meron na tayo mga pasta and may quesadilla na tayo, which talagang inaano natin, pinapasarap natin yung lahat ng mga lasa ng natin, pagkain natin.
Every Daniel's customer has their own favorite drinks they love, from signature coffee blends to refreshing fruit smoothies. But let's ask Kuya Daniel what's his favorite drink that Daniel's Coffee Shop offers.
At least 3 cups ng black coffee ang maintain ko talaga. Sa akin, nakakatulong yan kasi na 1, antioxidant ang coffee. 2, sa akin, nakakatulong siya sa akin para sa fat burning. And it also helps me perk up my day.
After the opening of the Cavite branch, a new fresh look for Daniel's Coffee in Quezon City will be opening soon. Know more about the benefits of drinking coffee on Kuya Daniel Razon's YouTube channel, KDR TV. Mon Hocson, UNTV News and Rescue, Dasmariñas, Cavite.
One of the songs to watch out for at the ASAP Year 8 Grand Finals talks about the youth and how to grow up and grow old walking on the right path. Why did the composer write the song with this theme? Find out as Nina Armilio reports.
Rising teen star Chacha Cañete is excited and overwhelmed to be chosen as the interpreter of Jother John Villan's praise song composition, O Ama. Jother's masterpiece is just one of the 12 original praise song compositions that will surprise the crowd at the ASAP Year 8 Grand Finals, to be staged on November 10, 7 p.m. at the New Frontier Theater, Araneta City, Cubao. During today's interview in Good Morning Kuya, Chacha sang her version of the song. The teen star said there are many lessons to learn from this praise song.
Kasi yung song na to, it's very fitting para sa akin kasi yung song is nagkukwento siya na about parang habang bata ka pa, hindi mo kakalimutan si God. So parang feeling ko para sa akin talaga yung kanta, and ma-deliver ko yun sa mga ka-age ko na maayos. Kasi, ayun, nakaka-relate sila.
It's Jother and Chacha's first time to step on the ASAP Grand Final stage. According to Jother, originally, his song composition had an acoustic feel. But since R&B also fits it, they arranged it as an R&B song. In a previous interview with the two, the composer said that his work aims to advise the youth to respect their parents and follow their guidance.
Yung isang mabuting anak, hindi naman yun lalaki ng mabuti kung walang guidance ng mabuting magulang din eh.
While for Chacha, O Ama has a very timely message to young ones like her.
Sometimes, we let ourselves forget about our beliefs. Minsan, masyado tayong busy sa ibang bagay na we forget na we should thank the Lord.
Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
And those are the reasons behind the news this October 28, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
I will surrender my powers to enforce the law. Ibigay ko sa Vice President. Ibigay ko sa kanya mga 6 months. Siya ang magdala. Tignan natin kung anong mangyari. Hindi ako makialam. Sige, gusto mo? Mas bright ka? Ikaw, subukan mo.
Kung mag-positive sila, they would be required to undergo rehabilitation, no? Depende kung severe ang ilang addiction.
Apat sila dyan kasi wala kaming pambayad sa sementeryo dito, libre. Safe naman kami.
I suppose the fact that they have not undertaken corrective measures that will prevent the evolution of this upcoming crisis again would be a factor that would make the president decide on drastic action against them.
He died like a dog. He died like a coward. He was whimpering, screaming, and crying. And frankly, I think it's something that should be brought out so that his followers and all of these young kids that want to leave various countries, including the United States, they should see how he died.